that mean to you?
Yeah. So I think for me, I look at it as 100% responsibility. Be responsible for your life. Be responsible for your feelings, your reactions, your responses. Nobody can hurt you. Only you can hurt you. But I see a lot of people blaming other people. This person made me cry. This person made me upset. What's a better way of saying that is this person said this thing and I was upset. See how you take it's like an I message, like I'm responsible. I was upset when he said this. And that's you accepting responsibility for being upset, right? Whereas I see most people going, oh, she made me cry. He made me cry. He made me angry. Nobody made you angry. Nobody made you cry. You made yourself angry. You made yourself cry. So when I hear that quote that you said, for me, it's all about being responsible for your responses and your reactions for where you are in the world. It's nobody else's fault. You are responsible for everything.
All right, y'all. What's going on? It's your boy Easy Bake Oven. What's up, y'all? So today it's a little different. All right. Now, yeah, I used to hear ads run through my stuff for other people. All right. This is probably the first real time the ad is for me. All right. So P.S.A. Prodigy Sport Advantage Stations has expanded far beyond just the podcast. It is now a writing service. All right. And at that, a ghostwriting service. So we do it anonymously and take care of your needs. All right. Homework assistant, product and profile descriptions, grant writing, resumes, cover letters, templates, books, ghostwriter book too. Anything you can think of, articles, all that good stuff. PSA the Ghostwriter Solution can do it. So go over to PSAthepodcast.com and you can see all the services there with all their descriptions. Okay, because I know I missed some. And also you can reach out to me at theprodigyperspective@gmail.com and we can take care of all of that for you too. Peace. What's going on, everybody? And just like that, we are going on. We are now at track 3. Okay. So we keeping the ball moving. I don't think we're gonna have no gaps in this series as far as any days off or any weeks off, because I really want to these next 11 weeks, I really want them to be some pressure. And I think that they're gonna be, because now I'm gonna break the fourth wall a little bit, because typically, I don't say, but this podcast series has been recorded out of order, like big out of order, not a little out of order, big out of order. You feel me? And I think that this episode is probably like the eighth one recorded or something crazy, and this is track 3, so that goes to show you how things are done. But guess what? Story is not altered, so that's all that matters. Okay, watch this. So first week we talked about planting the seed. Second week we talked about the development, and shout out to my boy Jason Jackson. He had a fire episode. But now this week we talking about the third stage of the plant. All right. And this stage, I'm not going to give too much away early, but this stage is the one that I feel like can kind of get overlooked. This is the one that features this stands around the young plant stage, the seedling, where you kind of start to see something. We talked about development last week, but it's not quite there yet. It still has potential. Keep that word in the back of your mind, because we're going to come back to it later. All right. So first off, let's get into the week's meme. This week's meme reads, "The liquor got this generation in a chokehold." Okay. Real simple, to the point. We're going to get into that later. Inspiration. So this week's inspiration, as I was, getting my evidence and all my stuff together, this week's episode is inspired by Chief Keef's song, "I Hate Being Sober." I think that came out when I was like either in high school or early college. Used to be my song back in the day. I haven't heard it in a long time, but Chief Keef can perform at the BET Awards now, so I guess that's progress somewhere, right? And a quote by Beth Wilson that says, "We honor ourselves when we speak out for recovery. We show the world that recovery matters because it brings hope and peace into the lives of individuals and their loved ones. Now, this isn't for those who, when we talk about this episode talking about being sober, right? We instantly think about alcohol. We're gonna talk about that too, but it's not always alcohol. Being sober is also. I don't want to give too much away, but I'm gonna save it. But long story short, being sober is much deeper than just alcohol, although that has a lot to do with it. And as we get along with this week's episode, we're gonna kind of get into how, because let's keep it 100. The generations before us drank too. They actually did coke as well. But the thing is, I think that it's so easy, with the terms and the phrases, be outside, we outside. It's just so easy to go out thinking you about to go have a pancake, and next thing you know, you 10 shots in. Crazy. Raise your hand if you've been there. And it's just like, bro, I wasn't even trying to do all that today, especially when you live in some of these toxic cities. Okay. But let me not get too ahead of myself. Let's go ahead and jump into this week's happy hour. All right. So for this week's happy hour, I actually want to talk about a stalker, right? Now, I don't think I have a real stalker, but there's some weird stuff going around in my apartment complex. So I was walking one day and there's this guy, I think he's new, and he's like older. And sometimes older people just stare. And like it's weird because like I'll just be walking. He'll literally just be walking or whatever. And then it's like he'll see me. But then he does it to other people too, I heard. And so he'll see me and then he'll just be like this. Like, look, this is the face, this is how I be. And I just be like, and I already live in a 1-bedroom. Now I'm not worried about, being attacked or nothing because he don't want these problems. But it's just the point of, it's just weird because it's like, where are you coming from? And you hear these stories all the time about people having stalkers and people having people looking at them crazy and then it just turn into something unnecessary. Listen, maybe it's time for me to move. I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe this is, the levee that broke the dam, and then finally I'll be transported into somewhere better. And I believe that's possible, and I believe that's gonna happen. But it's just something to keep in mind with everything. Also, this summer has been the hottest. They say Houston's been the hottest it's been in I don't know how long, and it's been very hot. Now, it's hot every summer, but I think this summer I think that I'm allowing y'all to be a little dramatic this summer. Because typically, y'all will be like, it's hot, it's hot. You knew it was going to be hot. You live in Texas. What did you expect? But, this one is a little hot. I'm interested to see how, hopefully we don't have a winter like that, because I don't like that. But, I'll be interested to see if that does happen. Now, a few weeks ago, they've been doing this thing. It started with Keke Palmer. Then it transfers to Jonah Hill, and I'm interested to see who's going to go to next, where now they're trying to push this narrative of, strong city girl type woman and then weak beta male. Now, y'all know me. I don't like the alpha male, beta male, sigma male conversations. I really don't. But they're trying to push this narrative of like a city girl, you do what you want to do, but then I'm still, got a man at home. Now, in the case of Keke Palmer, in reality, the dude Darius was not wrong, but it's just the stance of you never embarrass who you're dealing with, and then on top of that, y'all not married. So it's like, so that's where he shot himself in the foot. But at the same time, it's an Usher concert. So then it's like, okay, well, it's just entertainment. That's Usher doing what he's doing. But in the same time, it's like cameras is around. But then in the same breath, should we not respect her? Because it's like, at least you did it on camera. You know what I'm saying? At least you wasn't trying to be sneaky with it, She was just enjoying the show. I don't know. I think it's just something to think about. But then the Jonah Hill situation with his this ex-girlfriend coming out saying that he was emotionally abusive. I didn't read the text messages because I didn't feel like it. But I mean, it's definitely some type of agenda trying to be pushed. And anybody can see it. I believe that. But, it's so much. We ain't gonna get into the what the man should do and what a woman should do today. This ain't the conversation for that. But the main thing is it all aligns with what we're talking about. Self-control. And that's the main topic for today. So keep that in mind. Now, like I was saying, y'all, happy hour. We're not gonna run it through the mud today. All I'm gonna say is this episode is definitely gonna be a good one. I got a guest today. I'm gonna pick his brain about some stuff because we need some help, as the conglomerate, because the liquor be beating y'all up, and the only reason the liquor beat y'all up is because you keep inviting it over. It's like y'all have a domestic violence relationship with alcohol, and it shows in many ways. So I got an expert today who I'm gonna pick his brain and hopefully I can give y'all some tips. All right. So let me go ahead and introduce him. My guy. What's going on?
Izzy, nice to be here with you. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So um for those that don't know, this is an early morning recording for me, but for my man here, you are in the UK, correct?
I am. I'm in the UK at the moment. That's right.
Okay, so before we get into that, I got some more questions. So tell the people what's your name, where you're from, and then obviously I said where you live, but you can say it again.
My name's James Swanwick. I help mostly high achievers to have a better relationship with alcohol. More specifically, I help executives, entrepreneurs, business owners, growth-minded people to either reduce their alcohol consumption or to stop drinking entirely. And the reasons for most people doing that is so they can perform at a peak level, so they can produce more in their business or their career, so they can feel better, so they can lose unwanted weight, so they sleep better, so they look better. Just a warning, you do get better looking when you stop drinking alcohol because the toxins leave your skin. And, I don't per se help those who would describe themselves as being an alcoholic. I help really the societally acceptable drinker who drinks an amount that society would say, yeah, that's fine. But deep down, you know that it's slowing you down in many areas of your life. My organization's called Alcohol Free Lifestyle, and we've been doing this now, helping tens of thousands of people since 2015.
Okay. Now that's why I think this episode is gonna be perfect because a lot of people who that's why I made sure I talked about just be sober in general, but when people hear sober, they instantly think of, oh, I'm not alcoholic. And you're absolutely right. You might not be by society standards, but it's always there's something I feel like people know is holding them back. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's always, that's why I'm glad you said that, because it's like when something's holding you back. It's just kind of like, well, my friends are doing it, everyone else is doing it. I'm not doing it every single day, so I should be okay. That's what most people think, but that's not always the case. So now your career trajectory is quite impressive. So you've been a journalist to an ESPN SportsCenter anchor to now a successful entrepreneur. What inspired you to focus on the issue of alcohol consumption?
Well, I stopped drinking in 2010 at the age of 35. So up until that point, I was a socially acceptable drinker. I grew up in my native country of Australia. I would have a couple drinks most nights of the week. On weekends, I would drink more heavily, but I wasn't getting arrested. I wasn't getting a DUI. I didn't, do anything that, people would consider rock bottom. But in my 30s, in my early 30s, certainly, I realized that I'd put on about 20 pounds of unwanted body fat. I wasn't sleeping great. I didn't look great. My relationships were strained. I was irritable. I felt like a 6 out of 10. Wasn't rock bottom, but just very, very average. And so I was in Austin, Texas in March 2010. I was at the annual South by Southwest Festival. I had 2 Bombay Sapphire gin and tonics at an industry party on a Friday night. I went back to my hotel, woke up the next morning, went to an IHOP, an International House of Pancakes, next door to my hotel for breakfast. And I was sitting there just feeling really average. And I said, you know what, James? Just take 30 days off alcohol and see how you feel, because right now you're not feeling too good. And so I did. I committed to taking 30 days off. And in 30 days, I lost 13 pounds of unwanted body fat. I slept better. I looked better. I auditioned to become a SportsCenter anchor on ESPN. And to my utter bewilderment, I got the job. And a couple of weeks after that, I made my debut in I think it was April or May of 2010, hosting that iconic sports TV news show. And I thought, well, this no alcohol thing's definitely giving me some good results. Maybe I'll just keep going. And so I did. I tried to see if I could get to 60 days. I felt good. It got to 90 days, felt even better. I started attracting a higher caliber relationship into my life. I met a woman who was very high vibration, good person. She drank only modestly. Drinking wasn't necessary to create romance or to socialize. And I thought, well, I'll just keep going. And then I got to 1 year not drinking, and I went and ordered a Bud Light at a bar to celebrate. And at the very last moment, I put the drink back, or put the beer down, handed it back to the barman, because I thought, well, in 1 year, I've lost 25 pounds. I look good, sleep well. I'm on TV, hosting my dream job. I got a great girlfriend. I feel like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. I think I might just keep going. And so I did. And I haven't drunk since then. It's been 13 and a half years. And then in 2015, so many people were asking me, how do you do it? How do you do it? How do you have fun without drinking? That I decided to create a whole business around it. And now that has turned into this alcohol-free lifestyle organization with a podcast in Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And we help clients to go through a 90-day stop drinking process, so they come out the other side choosing to be alcohol-free rather than having to feel like they have to say no to alcohol. We're inspiring people to choose an empowering, health-conscious, positive lifestyle as opposed to saying no to alcohol.
Okay. Well, I think it's all about the paradigm, and it was that angle is a nice paradigm shift. Again, you're already starting off with a lot of good facts about, again, how you stated that it wasn't for the person who's considered the alcoholic. It's just for the person to say, I want you to be at another level. And what I like is what you're saying is too, when you was like, just try it. Like I said, because when you get results with stuff, and it's such a cliche and common analogy, but like if you go to the gym and you get results after 3 weeks and you never work out, you're going to want to keep going. Like, let's see how far I can go. So I feel like it's the same thing with drinking. If you take a break, you know what I'm saying? You drink every weekend, you know, at the least, maybe once or twice a week, along with the weekend, and you say, let's do 30 days. I feel like the results will be so good that you'll be like, you know what? Let's try it again. Let's try it even more. And even if you do incorporate drinking back into your life, I believe you probably wouldn't do it as much as you did prior to the 30 days, just because of the results that you get, you know, clearer skin, looking better, feeling better. So good stuff. We're not even 20 minutes in, and it's already some gems being dropped. So, all right, we love to see that. And now, before we get into the nitty gritty of everything, because this is industry plant and we're on track 3. So I have to ask, and I've gotten literally a different answer every time. If you could be a plant, what plant would you be and why?
I'm thinking, if I could be a plant,
Yes.
What plant would I be and why? I immediately thought of flowers, but flowers aren't a plant. You've stumped me on that one. I'm thinking. I don't have a particular type, but what I would say would be a healthy, hand-picked plant which would get direct sunlight most of the day, and I would hope that whoever was trying to keep me sustained would feed me beautiful water, filtered water, because I see that as an embodiment, or as a metaphor rather, for my own life, in that I'm always trying to get natural sunlight, vitamin D, obviously, and I'm always trying to drink good, clean, filtered water. Because if I can get natural sunlight and get that vitamin D, and if I can drink plenty of beautiful filtered water throughout the day, then I'm sustaining my physical health and my mental health. So if I was a plant, I'm not exactly sure which plant I'd be. I just want to be a plant that faced the sun and had someone who was always giving me beautiful, clean, filtered water.
Okay. All right. I'll take it. All right. Now, the last the Quizlet kind of thing until we get as we deep into the episode. All right. So now I'm going to ask you a few words or phrases, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind. There is no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
All right. So when you hear the word transform, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
breaking free of your comfort zone in order to make positive change.
All right. When you hear the word addiction, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Mentally addicted as opposed to physically addicted. There's a distinction.
Okay. We're going to get into that. And then when you hear the word sober, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Ineffective, because we use alcohol free instead of sober, because alcohol free implies you're making a choice, whereas sober implies that you're in a prison forced to say no to something that you might ordinarily choose.
Okay. So the definition of transform, it says make a thorough or dramatic change in form, appearance, or character of. Addiction, the fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance, thing, or activity. And then sober. So I actually have the definition from the spiritual context. It says that the term sober is frequently used in the context of being vigilant, clear-minded, and self-control. The term is used metaphorically rather than to a literal absence of alcohol or intoxication, although it is commonly used in that sense today. So we typically know that. I do like the term alcohol free. I'm sure you heard it before, but I think when I heard alcohol free, I instantly think of like sugar free. And with the lifestyle that I live, I live a low carb lifestyle. So a lot of things in my closet are sugar free. So it makes sense. And I like that whole concept of alcohol free, because again, it changes the narrative. And when you say alcohol free versus sober, it just changes the mind. It just does something differently. And it just is. We're going to get into that, but I really like how I like that angle better. Okay. And real quick, before we get to the next section, what inspired you to say alcohol free instead of sober?
I never resonated with the word sober or sobriety or even alcoholic. Sober and sobriety implies to me that under normal circumstances, you would choose to drink. However, you can't. You're forced not to because the effects are so damaging. That's sobriety and being sober. I don't like that word. I want to choose the direction I'm going in rather than saying no to something. I want to say yes, because a lot of the studies of the human brain and behavior indicate that it's far easier to accomplish a goal if you tell your mind what to do instead of telling your mind what not to do. Mm-hmm. And the word sober and sobriety is very much the way I interpret it, is telling yourself what not to do, which means you end up thinking about that very thing, which in many cases may mean that you end up going back and drinking when you don't want to.
Okay. And I can definitely see that angle. So that's good stuff. All right, now let's move into the next segment, which is, what does this have to do with mental health? All right. So before we get all the way deep into that, let me ask you this. During your tenure as a Hollywood correspondent, you interviewed numerous celebrities, and can you share some insights from those experiences and how they might have influenced your perspective on mental health and wellness?
Well, I interviewed movie stars like Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx, Angelina Jolie, Jennifer Aniston. I lived in Los Angeles for a few years, and I was a Hollywood journalist, so I would go to these movie junkets where they would promote their films, and I would interview them for 20 minutes or so. And the pattern that I noticed from maybe 6 or 7 years of doing that was that many of these highly successful people were very driven and not necessarily all the time very happy. Some of them were very happy, but some of them, the impression I got, where they were somewhat tormented by their success. They were really striving to achieve something, but the joy in their life was lacking. They were almost neurotic about trying to achieve the goals. Not everyone, just some of them. And then then I saw the other side, where I saw people who seemingly had it all together, where they really had a great work-life balance and they had joy in their life. But then I also don't know, right? Because I interviewed Will Smith when he was promoting I Am Legend and I, Robot, and this was all in the late 2000s. And I thought, man, there's a guy who seems so happy. He's got his stuff all together. And now with the context of the infamous slap at the Oscars, couple of Oscars ago, I can see that maybe, he was just striving to be the best that he can be in the eyes of other people, And so, and again, I don't know the reality. This is just my impression, but I think it didn't, for me, I think it didn't matter that people were celebrities as such. I think the statistics of how all of us human beings live our lives pretty much stay the same, irrespective of if you're a celebrity or not. Some people are tormented. Some people have joy in their life. Some people maybe don't know what's going on in their life.
Okay. All right. So good stuff. And I mean, and it's interesting because I think that a lot of times from the outside looking in, we assume, oh, they have everything together, they're rich. And then you hear those interviews where those celebrities will say things like, I got everything I wanted, now what? And that just goes to show you that some money is not everything and success is not everything. And a lot of times, and even in those cases, which if we kind of tied into today's conversation, a lot of them don't have control over their lives as much as it seems, because they have all these people running everything for them. They got this person doing this, that person doing that, and it's like they never really have time for themselves. And then sometimes they may find a vice or something. It's not always alcohol, but maybe it could be anything to kind of just let loose or release. And even if we kind of correlate that with Will Smith, the whole slap thing, like, and not saying that it wasn't, I guess, justified in a sense, but it was a lack of self-control and he lost it. And that just goes to show you even your favorites, just because they smile and grin on the stage and on the platform, don't necessarily mean they got it all together. So let's talk about as far as just being alcohol free and just how alcohol relates to mental health. So an impact on brain function and mental health disorders. It says long-term alcohol use and abuse can have severe effects on the brain function and potentially leading to mental health disorders, according to an article published in the Journal of Alcohol Research and Current Reviews. Chronic heavy drinking is associated with many serious problems, including brain damage. The impairments can be associated with various mental health problems such as depression and antisocial personality disorder, among other things. The second one says sobriety and mental health improvement. Now it says sobriety, or we're going to flip it and call it alcohol-free. Living an alcohol-free lifestyle can improve mental health outcomes. According to a study from the American Journal of Public Health, individuals who have substance use disorders, including alcohol, can achieve this by show significant lower risk of depression compared to those who have not achieved an alcohol-free lifestyle. All right. And then the third one is the impact on sleep quality. Alcohol can greatly affect sleep patterns, which is critical to mental health. And according to a study published in the journal Alcoholism, Clinical and Experimental Research, alcohol consumption, particularly at higher levels, can interfere with all stages of sleep, including the quality of REM sleep, which is crucial for mental health and emotional health. Now, being this young person, I see people all the time brag about not being able to sleep, like they think it's like a trophy, like, oh, well, guess what? I didn't get no sleep. Our team no sleep. I hear it all the time, right? Now, you're also you also co-founded Swanwick Sleep with your brother Trista and created the popular Swannies glasses, as I pronounce it.
Swannies
Glasses. Can you help explain how the blue light affects our health and why blocking it is essential for our sleep quality?
Well, look, anytime that you are exposed to artificial light at night, your sleep is being compromised. So your microwave light, kitchen light, TV light, cell phone light, iPad light, the speedometer light in your car, the McDonald's golden arches as you're driving along the highway, all of that light at night disrupts our melatonin release, which causes us sleep challenges. What it actually does is that light stimulates our pituitary and pineal glands, which suppresses melatonin release. Now, most folks may not have a problem falling asleep, but the quality of their sleep is going to be compromised because you were staring into that cell phone late at night, or because you were brushing your teeth in the bathroom light at night, or because you were watching a Netflix show on your phone as you lay in bed at night. The safest way to block artificial light at night is to live your life by candlelight. No one's going to do that though, right? We live in 2023. So the next best thing you can do is put on a pair of quality orange lensed blue light blocking glasses. The company I have is called Swanwick Sleep. We produce these scientifically proven blue light blockers called Swannies. The University of Washington did a scientific study on them in 2019, which showed that people who wore these glasses for about 45 minutes before they wanted to go to sleep slept on average of 12% better. And then the next day, the users reported about 13% increase in productivity because they had clarity and focus and energy. A pair of clear lensed glasses of clear lensed blue blockers will not help you with your sleep. They must be an orange lensed pair of blue light blockers, because only an orange lens can block enough of that blue light that disrupts your melatonin release. It's true that clear lensed blue blockers like the ones I'm wearing now are good for daytime use because they filter the blue light. But at nighttime, you really must switch to an orange lensed pair of blue blockers. And I would encourage you, only go for a pair that are scientifically proven, because there are a lot of cheap imitations on the internet that are not, and they tend to not do what they claim that they can do. But I put mine on 45 minutes before I want to sleep. I keep them on. I scroll on my phone. I do some reading. I brush my teeth in the bathroom light. And then I get into bed. I turn off the last light. And then I remove the glasses and I sleep beautifully.
Now, so we talked about you brought up earlier about how you notice when you stop drinking or whatever, you notice your sleep quality improved. It also said in the source that I just read that the sleep quality improved, or that your sleep is affected. So basically when you stop drinking, you noticed it one way, and then when you started applying everything you just said, the Swannies glasses, you noticed the even bigger what's the word phrasing for? You noticed the even more drastic change to your sleep as far as the quality improved even more after that, correct?
Correct, because you're actually better drinking alcohol for breakfast than you are anywhere close to bedtime, because at least then the body has 16 hours to go to work to break down the toxins from the alcohol. Whereas if you drink at nighttime in the last few hours before you go to sleep, it's true it may make you sleepier. It's true it may help you to fall asleep, but the quality of your sleep is going to be compromised because your body is now working to break down the toxins from the alcohol. But we don't want our body working when we're sleeping. We want our body resting. So every time you drink at nighttime, right, last 3, 4, 5 hours before you go to sleep, you're essentially clocking in for the day. You're starting the work day of your body. When you want to have clocked out, you don't want to be working. You don't want your body working. You want to have clocked out for the day. But every time you drink, whether it's wine or beer or whiskey or liquor, whatever it is, you're just clocking in. You're making your body clock in for a full day's work.
Well, it's interesting because we live in brunch culture these days. So I guess it's kind of like, if for the people, if you did this, I know y'all love to go to brunch. I mean, if you're going to drink, I guess it's better to do your daytime drink and do your brunch during then versus when it's time to go to sleep. But it's crazy because I have noticed that, like, when you drink right before you go to sleep, like, I will wake up, and I always made it, which now shows that was an issue. But I will always be like, yeah, I can drink all this before I go to bed. And then I wake up like early and full of energy, and your body is clocked in. That's why. That makes perfect sense. Good stuff to know. Now, you made up a point, not made up a point, but you made a point, and you said that brushing your teeth before going to bed is not good. Why is it just because of the lights, or is it for other reasons?
It's because of the lights, because 99.9% of the population will brush their teeth in the last 20 minutes before they go to bed, right?
Right.
And when you're doing that without wearing a pair of blue light blocking glasses, you're destroying your sleep, because the bathroom light is on. You're standing there in the mirror, brushing your teeth. The light from the bathroom is shining into your eyes. Your pituitary and pineal glands are being stimulated. The melatonin that wants to be released because it's late at night is suppressed. It's like pushed down. It's not releasing the way that nature intended you to have it released, right? So you're brushing your teeth. You're like, oh yeah, I'm getting ready for bed, but the light's on, right? The melatonin's like, I want to flow through your body. I want to flow through your body, but it can't get out because you're staring into that damn light. So what you do is you wear a pair of the orange lensed blue blockers like the Swannies, and you brush your teeth with those glasses on, and then you don't remove them until you've switched the final light off and you're in bed, right? Like I get into bed with my glasses on, and then I switch off the bedside lamp, and then I remove the glasses. I don't wear the glasses, then take them off, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, get into bed, scroll through my phone, turn off the light, go to sleep. I'm always wearing the glasses right up until I switch the final light off.
Okay. Good stuff. It's just interesting because you never, I've never heard that before. And I'm like a person who likes knowledge. So when I'm hearing that now, I definitely am going to do some things differently. So I have to ask with the Swannies, where can we get them? How much do they cost?
You can get them at swanicsleep.com, or they're on Amazon as well. You can just type in Swannies or Swanwick Sleep. They're about $70. 70
Okay.
bucks. They're scientifically proven. Candidly, you can get much cheaper on the internet, but they're not scientifically proven. I can't speak for them. I don't know whether they do what they claim they do, but you can get $20 pairs, $12 pairs, cheap ass pairs from China if you want. I just don't know how effective they are. I'm not saying they're not effective. It's just I don't know. But if you want scientifically proven from the University of Washington, then you would choose a pair of our glasses. There's also more expensive glasses on the market that are also not scientifically proven. I don't know if they do the things that they claim they do. Depends what your budget is. Depends on how seriously you take your health, if you want it to be, proven or not.
No, I'd rather pay the money and get the right one than try to be cheap and go the cheap route and then having to still end up more because you then spent all that money because this one broke or these one went out early. It just never works when you try to go the cheap route. I've tried plenty of times.
I will say this. The pro athletes at the New Orleans Saints wear our glasses. Pro athletes at the New York Knicks, at the LA Lakers, at Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur over in the English Premier League. The pro athletes are wearing our brand of glasses, Swannies from Swanwick Sleep, because they're scientifically proven. Again, sports scientists at many of these major sporting organizations are now taking the sleep of their athletes very, very seriously. And the brand they choose is the one that's been scientifically proven. So it's just something to take note of. I don't see, pro athletes getting a cheap ass pair that they're not sure whether they work or not.
Right. Definitely. So now, what is the quote? Likewise, urge the younger men to be self-controlled mean to you?
Say it again for me, Izzy.
Likewise, urge the younger men to be self-controlled. What does that mean to you?
Yeah. So I think for me, I look at it as 100% responsibility. Be responsible for your life. Be responsible for your feelings, your reactions, your responses. Nobody can hurt you. Only you can hurt you. But I see a lot of people blaming other people. This person made me cry. This person made me upset. What's a better way of saying that is this person said this thing and I was upset. See how it's like an I message, like I'm responsible. I was upset when he said this. And that's you accepting responsibility for being upset, right? Whereas I see most people going, oh, she made me cry. He made me cry. He made me angry. Nobody made you angry. Nobody made you cry. You made yourself angry. You made yourself cry. So when I hear that quote that you said, for me, it's all about being responsible for your responses and your reactions, for where you are in the world. It's nobody else's fault. You are responsible for everything.
Absolutely. And that quote comes from, it's actually Titus 2:6. And I agree wholeheartedly. I think that I actually, like I said, this episode by far, this whole season, they all been good, but this one has been definitely, I feel like, angled in the whole of the reprogramming thing. because we always focus around decision making, and obviously everything we're talking about centers around decisions. But this one is just a reprogramming and just simple rewording. Like you said, instead of saying, "Oh, they made me mad," no. They said this and I got mad. You need to stop letting, and that's another example of letting your emotions get the best of you. And I think society has made that to a what's the word I'm looking for? We've made it okay. I'll just leave it at that. And that has become it's just a lot. I can go in it all day. I'm not trying to do that. So, all right. Now, I think people need a paradigm shift and again to reprogram their mind. And especially when we align that or we talk about that with how it correlates with being alcohol free, being sober, whatever, right? So, I think this also can kind of align with people too. And sometimes we need to take a break from people and things. And sometimes not necessarily isolate yourself as far as forever, but just see seasons of maybe where you need to take a break from just stuff. It's a lot of times it's a lot of go. And I think that this generation, that's the trend. So like I said earlier, don't get any sleep. Work, don't stop. Go over here, go there, go here, go everywhere. Especially living in Houston is very fast paced. So I think that the issue again lies in people wanting to kind of get like a fix almost. And sometimes it's not always just alcohol. A lot of it can be sex. It could be drugs. It could be just being around people in a situation of that, just because you need something to kind of like, how you say, fill that void. Now, you had said earlier, people don't take responsibility for what their actions are. They need to take more responsibility. Why do you think people just need that void so bad in this generation?
Why do people need their voice so much in this generation?
Well, not their voice. Why do people need to fill that void? If you think they need to fill a void.
Fill their void. I'm sorry. Yeah. Look, I think social media has played a big part in that because we start comparing ourselves to other people. I mean, there was a time before social media, we didn't know what our acquaintances were up to. We didn't even care. We were just busy living our lives, and maybe we knew what our family and immediate friends were doing, but we didn't know where they were and where they were eating and what they were eating and who they were doing it with. And so we lay in bed each night and we're looking through this Instagram or Facebook and looking at other people, and everyone's posting these glamorous photos of them doing cool things. And we go, "Oh, I'm not doing those cool things. I don't have as many friends, or I don't have those cool friends." And so we start comparing ourselves. I've been guilty of it. I remember lying in bed 2017, 18, just scrolling, thinking my life sucks because everyone else is crushing it and I'm not crushing it. The reality was that I was crushing it compared to my own standards, but I experienced loss because I was comparing myself to other people, and so I think I've shut out a lot of the noise. Now I just focus on what are my family up to? What are my close friends up to? I still scroll on social media and I take a glance, but I don't go down the rabbit hole. I just kind of like quickly look at it and then I just move on. And that has really helped my mental health, I have to say. And I would suggest that anyone struggling with, wanting to fill a void would probably do well to limit who they're watching and how much of it they're watching.
Okay. All right. So now let's move into the next segment, which is called I Challenge That. So now we kind of got to challenge everything we preaching today. So here's the thing. I seen a meme on Instagram, everybody's favorite social media, right? And the meme read, every time I want to stop drinking or take a break, it's either a holiday or somebody's birthday. Now, if you're an avid drinker or you drink every so often or whatever, and somebody's birthday comes up or holiday, and you're trying to be alcohol free, and you say you just a scenario, and this is the beginning. This say, for instance, you say, okay, I'm gonna be alcohol free starting out for 30 days. And then day 3 is your best friend's birthday. Y'all known for turning up this town, flipping painting the town red, all that good stuff. What would be your suggestion to that person in that moment?
Go to the party, dance on tables, have a great time, and drink soda, water, ice, and a piece of lime, and let other people see you having a wonderful time while being alcohol free. You can have so much fun, turn the town red, to borrow your phrase. Just have the best time without drinking attractively packaged poison. You just haven't had the experience of it yet, right? So I would say, don't stay home and lock yourself away from society, thinking that you can't enjoy yourself and everyone else is having fun because they're drinking. No, go out and have the most fun not drinking. I used to live in the Hollywood Hills. I went to Hollywood Hills parties. I went to the MTV Movie Awards parties. I went to Elton John's post-Oscars party. I went to the Playboy Mansion. I danced on tables. I swam in the grotto at the Playboy Mansion. And I did it all not drinking alcohol, with people thinking that I was drunk many times. But I was just high on life and having a great time. You do not need to hold a glass of attractively packaged poison in order to have a good time. So go to your friend's party, tear up the town, but do so drinking alcohol free.
It's funny, that actually happened to me one time because I'm like a natural clown. And I remember I was at one of my friends, they had like a gathering, a dinner or something, and everybody was drinking and eating. I wasn't drinking. And so I was just saying off the wall random stuff. And my friend kept asking, "Are you drunk?" I said, "No, I'm completely sober." And she was laughing. She said, "You even worse sober." I said, "I know." So it was even worse, like funnier. So I said, when I noticed that, I said, okay, so I don't need, because it's crazy because I remember in college, I was talking to one of my friends and he was just like, in high school, middle school, we used to have so much fun at events completely sober. And now we done got to college and adult life and everybody's faded. And we done kind of forgot what it was like to have fun back then. Because I remember in high school, I didn't drink, smoke, none of that, but I had friends that did. And I remember being sober and having still a ball. And then it's like you went to college and you kind of lost that. And so I think that my suggestion for people is to just kind of like go back to that, because you didn't always go to functions faded. You know what I'm saying? It's to the point where some people say, I got to get faded to go, or I need a shot to go. You didn't made alcohol and just a lot of things, not even just alcohol, but a lot of things, your crutch. And now it's kind of like you forgot how it used to be. So I think what people should do is just try to venture back and just to go back to that feeling of how it used to be, because this generation loves nostalgia anyway. So why not go back to have a nostalgic moment of being sober? Because like I said, you weren't always drunker than a skunk. So keep that in mind. So now you have authored the 30-day no alcohol challenge. So now, can you tell us about some of the most common challenges people face when they first attempt to reduce or quit alcohol based on your coaching experiences?
People mistakenly think that stopping drinking means that they no longer can have fun. And so they see 30 days and a 30-day challenge as more of a trial and a tribulation and a test, and like where they have to lock themselves away from everything. And so they also see 30 days as having a stop point at 30 days, and that you get to celebrate by having a drink on day 31. I would encourage people to go into the 30 days thinking that you're going to go for 40 days or 50 days or 60 days or 90 days, and look at it as you're going to have the most fun during these times. You're going to go out to the club or, do hiking or do some new activities and experience the joy that comes from that. So stop thinking you're depriving yourself of something for 30 days and start thinking that you are going to give yourself a gift for at least 30 days.
I love that. I think that is great, especially just for how this situation. I had a friend, he was on my podcast a few weeks ago. Shout out to Trent. And he said him and his girlfriend went on a 75-day alcohol cleanse. And a challenge, and they didn't drink alcohol for 75 days. They actually, I know for sure he actually started drinking again after that, but he said it wasn't the same. And then he's at the point now where he's saying he believes he's going to quit completely now. He said because when he got back to, he said it wasn't the same anymore. And I believe that. I believe your body gets used to you not doing something, and when you try it again, it's just not it. You know, you look at it like again a diet. I said earlier, you take weeks off from eating certain fried foods or certain meats even, and then you try to eat again, yeah, but you get sick, and it's like, is it really worth it? And that's something to keep in mind too. So for those that may be wondering what may happen when you try to quit alcohol or take a break or do a cleanse, whatever, however you want to view it, there are some symptoms and some things. So the first one is withdrawal symptoms. It says one of the major challenges people face is coping with withdrawal. And then according to a report by the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, withdrawal symptoms can range from mild anxiety and fatigue to nausea, vomiting, even life-threatening conditions. Then it says 2 is high relapse rates. Statistically, relapse is another significant challenge faced by those attempting to quit alcohol. The NIDA estimates that relapse rates among people trying to quit substance abuse, including alcohol, are between 40 and 60%. Now, with that, I do feel as though with anything else, if you do go on an alcohol cleanse or go alcohol free for 30 days or 60 days or whatever you want to do, and you do relapse, don't think like, oh, I didn't start it back, might as well keep going now. I think that's a lot of times we as people, we just be like, oh, I done messed up, might as well keep messing up. And it's kind of like with anything else, like once you have a setback, acknowledge it, you did it, but then I feel like, no, we'll keep going. Like, all right, you had a setback. Let me put boundaries in that area now. And this is so I won't go back to the devil. And then the third one I kind of mentioned earlier, which he gave a great scenario thing to do, but it's social pressure and stigma. The social aspects of drinking also present a challenge for individuals attempting to quit alcohol. And then a lot of times studies have shown that it is a social point for social is for socializing. And I think that's interesting because we've made it to where we can't socialize without alcohol. And you can literally do the exact same things. You know what I mean? You can go eat at a restaurant. Even if you are a clubber, you can go to a club. This man has been in Hollywood parties, and only God knows what went down in those Hollywood parties, and didn't drink and had a ball. You can too. And also, like he's saying, if you go out your way to like show, like, look, y'all, I'm having a great time and I don't have any alcohol. I actually have a friend who doesn't drink at all. And he's like one of the most, it's like weird because when we would drink, it's like he got litter too. And it was so weird because he doesn't drink or smoke or do anything. And it was like he got more excited and more lively as we got drunk. It was weird, but it was funny. And he know how to make it work. So keep that in mind, y'all. And also, it's a cool thing to be the person who isn't drinking. Everybody don't have to be the same. So I feel like it can be like kind of like I'm the one that don't drink, or I'm the one that taking a break from drinking, or I'm the one that's alcohol free. I think that's a good title to add to somebody too. So keep that in mind. All right. Let's move to the next segment, which is the weekly sabbatical. So this is a time in which we kind of reminisce and kind of just bring everything home together as we kind of get closer to the end. All right, so what does this conversation have to do with the plant stage of this week, which is seedling and the young plant, right? So the first is care and conditions. So just as seedlings need the right care and conditions, sunlight, water, nutrients, soil, individuals who are going alcohol free need a supportive environment and access to resources. We have a resource right here, y'all. So this is one for those who maybe need that extra coaching. You try to do it on your own, or you maybe know that you can't do it on your own. We got somebody here. The second one is vulnerability. Young plants are vulnerable and need constant care. Similarly, early stages of alcohol-free can involve dealing with relapses and stressors. The third one is growth and development. The seedling stage involves substantial growth and change, as does early sobriety or alcohol-free, with personal growth and developing new coping skills. And then the last one I like the best, especially for the young millennials, potential. Seedlings hold the potential to become mature fruit-bearing plants. Likewise, individuals starting their alcohol-free journey can envision a healthier, fulfilling life despite the journey being challenging. So I definitely think that's good, and keep it in mind. Now, you've already mentioned earlier you were a journalist, so we know that. But can you share some memorable moments from your early career as a journalist, particularly while working with Rupert Murdoch's news?
I got a job right out of high school. I was 17 years old, and I became a copy boy at a Rupert Murdoch broadsheet newspaper called the Courier Mail in Brisbane, Australia. And, that was a lot of fun. I got to learn about reporting on police matters, on business matters, some entertainment matters. And then I moved over to London to work for Sky Sports, covered sports like rugby and cricket and tennis. And then later on, ESPN sports journalism, which was a lot of fun. I got to meet Tom Brady and David Beckham, and then Hollywood journalists got to meet folks like I mentioned before, Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. So it's been a great opportunity to meet so many different people in different phases of life. It's been so great. I interviewed the former Vice President Al Gore as well. That was a lot of fun, and it was a great experience.
So now, could you discuss Project 90 in depth?
So what we do is we help mostly folks over the age of 30 to rewire their mindset through a 90-day stop drinking process. So we have coaches. It's a great community of people. We make Zoom calls available where people get on and we rewire their mindset around alcohol. We help them achieve bucket list items, have fun. It's empowering and positive and fun. It's not AA where it's all boring and dull and you don't relate to people. It's empowering and inspirational. And what we do is we help people take actions, pursue hobbies, pursue interests, and have a lot of fun. That's the big difference. It's a fun way to get long-term power over your drinking habits as opposed to AA, which doesn't seem fun to me at all.
Well, when you think of AA, you just think of those people sitting in a circle. And hi, James, what's your name? My name's James. Hey, James. And then they all look like I can never tell. And I guess I've never been to a meeting, but just what you see on TV and even what you hear about is almost like, a rehab or, it's all for people who've then done some wild stuff off drinking, maybe hurt somebody, hurt themselves, all that kind of wild stuff. You just never really know. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so y'all, so let's go ahead and wrap today's episode up with a few tips and ways to be sober, especially in social settings. So these will be real quick. Prepare and practice responses. Being prepared with the response when offered a drink can be helpful. And this is a study by Rolnick and Heather. The second one is peer support. Research shows that friends who respect your decision to be sober is beneficial. 2014 study published in the Journal of Health and Social Behavior was reported that young adults who spend more time with sober friends were less likely to drink excessively. Alternative drinks. A study in the Journal of Alcohol and Alcoholism found that people who drink non-alcoholic beer report the same level of social ability as those drinking alcoholic beer. That's easy to go get you I can't think of the phrase, but it's definitely it's definitely a drink you can have. Mindfulness, applying mindfulness techniques. This can improve self-control, which we've been talking about. And then also the last one, which is great, activities that don't revolve around alcohol. So this encouraging group activities that aren't focused on drinking, it can reduce alcohol consumption. A study in the American Journal of Public Health suggested that exposure to alcohol-free recreational activities can reduce alcohol use among young adults. All right, y'all. So let's end off with the question of the challenge for the week. And it's asking simply, do you plan to do an alcohol cleanse? I suggest that you do. Like he said, 30 days is really all you need. And I promise you're going to see a difference. We had a great episode today. I really enjoyed it. I think it was going to help a lot of people. Anything you want to say to the people before you go?
If you want to learn more about stopping drinking, you can listen into the podcast. It's called Alcohol Free Lifestyle on Apple Podcasts and in Spotify. I'm on Instagram at James Swanwick. You're welcome to send me a message at any time. And if you're interested in the blue light blocking glasses and sleeping better, you can always go to swanwicksleep.com or just type in Swanwick or Swannies in Amazon and you'll find us there. But I've had a life with alcohol and a life without, and without is way better. I've had a life of mediocre sleep and I've had a life with terrific sleep, and terrific sleep is way better. I hope this helps.
All right. Thank you, sir. So that is all I got for today. Next week, we transition into a whole nother topic that centers around everything we've been doing. We're going to talk about the vegetative state, which is starting to green, but you're not fully reproducing. And that features my boy Jake, and that's going to be a good one. And yeah. So, as always, P.S.A. signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And I love us for real. Peace.